Grab a pen, a piece of paper, and your favorite bubbly drink because we are about to break down everything that we are currently doing behind the scenes to grow our multiple six-figure online course-based business. I thought long and hard about what I wanted this video to be, and while I could do another fun how to sell your course, how to build your website, I decided why not actually share with you exactly what we're doing to create sales and drive impact online right now. I'll be walking you through everything that we're doing on social media, our offer strategy, the technology that we're leveraging, and so much more. But before I start, I want you to know that not everything that I'm about to say and share with you is something that you should or need to be doing in your online business. The reality is that every single online business, especially every course-based business, is different. So before you go implementing these strategies, I really want you to ask yourself these two really important questions. The first question I want you guys to ask yourself is, does this strategy align with the business that I want to run? Meaning, if you hear me talk about running webinars, I want you to ask yourself if running webinars is part of the big picture vision of your business. If it's not, it might be a short-term strategy that you can implement, but not something that I would build for in the long run. The secondary question that I really want you guys to ask yourself is, does this strategy take me away from something I'm doing that is already working? If there is one rule we have in this world, it is to never fix what's not broken. So if you're doing something that is already working, adapting one of these strategies that I'm currently using might not be the best bet for your business. Instead, you may want to turn this video off and shift your focus to actually building systems around the things that you already know are working so that you can help more people, make more money, and do that in less time. With that being said, let's head into the first thing that we're currently doing to drive sales and impact in our business. The sun has apparently decided to blind me midway through recording this, but we're going to roll with it anyways. The first thing that we are really focusing on as we move forward in 2023 and in 2024 is focusing on being more consistent on Instagram and at the same time expanding our presence here on YouTube and on the blog. By the way, if you prefer to read posts like this, you guys can check out the blog post linked underneath this video for all my reading girlies. I do want to say that posting consistently is so much more than just showing up every day. And that's not the conversation that I want to have around this subject. But I do believe that a little bit of context is really important for you to understand why I'm even bringing this up in the first place, because consistency on social media is honestly the bare minimum when it comes to running and scaling an online business. I have been creating content daily on Instagram for over 5 years. In the last 2 years, we've used social media, strictly organic social media content from Instagram to drive over $700,000 worth of sales. However, earlier this year, life absolutely happened to your girl. We had a breakup on the other side of the world, and I found myself in this position where it was really quite challenging to show up, let alone show up consistently. So on October 10th of this year, I got a little bit fed up with myself and I said, enough is enough. We need to show back up. And I got to freaking work. For those 2 weeks, I posted content on Instagram every single day, both on my feed and in my stories. The result of that effort was that we had 9 sales calls booked and generated $10,000 in revenue in just under 2 weeks. Now, the important thing to note here is not that I have always been consistent. The important note here, and the reason why I've given this context, is that you can understand why we're expanding and focusing so much on YouTube and blogging as we move forward in 2024. You see, as I took that step back to deal with my own personal things that were happening in my life, the business from a reoccurring revenue standpoint stayed pretty consistent at bringing in between $10,000 and $12,000 every single month without any new clients or customers. But we noticed with my absence on social media that our new sales went down, and naturally so. However, going into 2024, I do not want my life happening to take away or to detract from the business's growth. YouTube is a great long-term growth platform because it is search-driven and because the lifeline or the lifetime, I guess for lack of a better word, is longer on YouTube than it is on Instagram. On Instagram, your piece of content is lucky if it gets 2 to 3 days worth of engagement and exposure, whereas on YouTube, it really truly has unlimited access to exposure because the platform is search-driven. Now, if you are somebody who has been consistently showing up on Instagram and is successfully driving sales from that platform in your online business, adding a YouTube channel or adding a blog or a podcast into the mix can really set you up for more time freedom in your life and a more sustainable long-term content strategy. However, if you're not consistently showing up on at least one platform at this time, I highly recommend you build that muscle and get that platform driving sales before you add another one into your strategy. With that being said, I do want to walk you through what I'm actually posting on Instagram to drive these sales, because it's not what most people would think that it is. I'm about to share with you 8 questions that I ask myself when I sit down to create content every week, when I know that the intention is to connect with my community, increase the impact that I'm having, and of course, drive new leads into our sales funnel. What I want you to do is pause, get your pen and paper, and pause after I ask each of these questions and brain dump 3 to 5 points for each of these questions that I ask. These points that you make, you can directly use as content on your Instagram account that's going to make your people feel seen, heard, understood, and safe enough to buy. The first question that I want you guys to brainstorm under is, what is my client currently feeling that's uncomfortable? And I want to emphasize the word feeling, okay? Maybe they're feeling anxious because they've purchased a bunch of courses and they haven't seen the results that they want yet. Maybe they're feeling frustrated because they've watched all the tech tutorials and they still can't figure out how to piece their funnel together. Maybe they're feeling overwhelmed because they have kids running around and all of these things that they know they should be doing for their self-care, but that they're not doing it, okay? So write down a couple of things that they are feeling as they go through this journey. The second question is, what is my client currently hearing that's uncomfortable? In the business world, you might be hearing, how's that little business going? Or that sounds really risky. Or why don't you get a job? In the health world, they might be hearing things like, you look tired, or have you slept lately, right? I want you to really ask yourself, what are they hearing in their environment that's uncomfortable? Okay. The third question is, what is my client currently doing that's uncomfortable? Maybe they're watching hours and hours of YouTube tutorials just to try and figure out how to build a funnel. Maybe they are going to the gym for 2 hours every day, but they're not seeing any changes or adjustments on the scale. Really ask yourself, what are they actually doing every day in their life that's driving them a little bit crazy or making them uncomfortable? Those first 4 questions are strategically designed to help your client see and understand that you know what they're going through and that you are actually able to support them. Let's dive into these next 4 questions, okay? These 4 questions are designed to position you as the exact opposite. Yes, somebody who has been where they are, but also someone who has gotten where they want to be. And so the next question that I want you guys to brainstorm around is, what does my client want to feel about their business? Well, in my community, we want to feel excited. We want to feel passionate. We want to feel fulfilled. We want to feel like we're making a difference. We want to feel excited about what's to come. Okay, what does my client want to hear about their business? What do they actually want to hear when they're at their dinner table? Probably something along the lines of, you made how much money doing what? Oh my gosh, right? What do they actually want to hear? What does your client want to do? What do they actually want to be spending their time doing? Maybe they want to go to the gym for 45 minutes and see results. Maybe they want to only have to tidy their house for 10 minutes every single day to have that neat, tidy home that they've always dreamed of. So what does your client actually want to be doing? And then the final question, and the 8th question, is, what does my client actually want to see in their life or in their business? Maybe they want to see payment notifications in the morning when they open their email inbox. Maybe they want to see their online Instagram community growing. Maybe they want to see their children getting along or their husband picking up some of the slack around the house. These questions, like I said, are designed to show that you know where they want to be and that you can help them get there. Every single answer that you just wrote down is the beginning of a really great post that's designed to help people and, yes, sell your services. I want you to think of everything that you jotted down as a short story. For example, our dream clients are feeling the pressure of knowing that they need to sell, but not actually doing it. I'm wondering if you can relate. And so I created this post based on one of those prompts, sharing the story of how I knew I needed to sell, but couldn't get myself to do it, and the shift that actually happened and occurred to get me to move the needle forward in my business, to actually get me to show up and sell. The result of that post is that it drove 2 sales calls, and I had DMs of people asking how I was in their head. And that's exactly what we want your online community to be doing. If you struggle with the creating a story side of turning any of these ideas that you've jotted down into an online post, I highly recommend checking out our Discovered and In-Demand course. It is my $700,000 content system broken down into short 10 to 15 minute videos that you can implement ASAP, and I'm going to drop the link for you guys underneath this video. The second thing that we are doing to increase sales in our online business is playing with the language that we use to market our discovery calls or our sales calls. The question I often get asked when it comes to selling high ticket courses and high ticket offers, which in my mind is anything over $3,000, is do I truly need sales calls in order to sell this consistently? And here's my simple answer. If you are doing live launches, meaning you have an open cart and a closed cart, you can 100% sell a $3,000 product off of a launch like series like that. However, if you run a business like ours and your course is always open, meaning it is evergreen, people can always buy it. There's no live launch windows. There's no open cart, closed cart. The easiest way to help people make that decision is twofold. One, creating the great content that we already covered in this video. And two, offering them a call where they can ask any questions that they might have and actually get support in the process of making that buying decision. And anybody who tells you that they do not have time for sales calls, I want you to run in the opposite direction, because sales calls are actually one of the most powerful and impactful things that you can do, both as the marketer in your business and as a way to kind of let your clients experience who you are and what you do. Now, where this actually comes into play in terms of driving more sales is that we have been experimenting with the language that we use. In the past, we have used so many names and tested so many different call to actions around getting calls booked. We've done consultation calls, we've called them discovery calls, we've called them strategy sessions, we've called them business assessments, to name a few. And while they have worked, because we obviously have generated over $700,000 in sales in the last 2 years, we always did feel like there was some type of resistance and like it felt very cold and salesy to write, book a call or book a sales call in our marketing and messaging. So for the last month, I've been actively seeking a solution. And instead of the language that we just chatted about, I've been calling them comfort calls. And to be honest with you, I've been kind of surprised at the receptivity of our audience using this new language, because they have been booking left, right, and center, and they keep telling me that this language of comfort calls makes it feel like there's less pressure for this to be a salesy conversation and creates more of a safe space to explore options, which is truly what a sales call is designed to be. Before you go implementing this strategy and changing all of your messaging over to book a comfort call, I want to share with you why we made this switch and why I actually believe that it's working. For me, knowing why we're doing something is just as important as what it is that we're actually doing. And I think that there are a few core reasons why this is working in our unique business specifically. So the first reason really comes down to who our ideal client is and who our community is built of. So despite the fact that I teach a very masculine side of business, I really do focus on the systems and the strategy and the tech side of what it takes to scale a multiple 6-figure course business. The majority of our clients operate mostly in their feminine energy and often do work in feminine energy fields like therapy, life coaching, wellness, trauma, astrology, and energy work, okay? They deal with more sensitive subject matter and tend to be more intuitive and sensitive beings. And in order for them to buy, they need to feel a couple of things. They need to feel seen, they need to feel heard, and they need to feel understood. With our previous language, a lot of our clients felt that the sales call or the strategy session felt very masculine and forced. And what they really wanted to feel when they're in that buying purchase is comfortable. They want to feel like they're making the right decision for them. And so switching from book a strategy session or book a call to book a comfort call has allowed our sales calls to turn into a space where they actually just get to feel seen, heard, and understood, and therefore they've been way more likely to purchase too. If your clients are in more sensitive industries or you deal with more sensitive topics in your business than I do in mine, I highly recommend giving this strategy a try. But if your ideal client does not fit that bill, I recommend sticking with the strategy that you currently have and improving your content to drive more sales calls getting booked. The third thing we're currently doing that's working to drive additional sales in our online business is running monthly webinars. I don't care genuinely what anybody says when it comes to driving sales of online courses or coaching programs and products. Monthly webinars, or webinars in general, are one of the greatest tools that we have, okay? Not only are they an incredible way to build your email list, they allow you to showcase your expertise, and of course, they get your offers in front of your ideal client. We've been running a monthly webinar every single month for well over 2 years, and this strategy has truly never failed me. If you're feeling stuck or uninspired, or like the momentum has just been lost from your online business, I highly recommend planning a webinar that you're going to run within the next 2 to 3 weeks. When we did this after taking that backseat that life made us take earlier this year, it allowed us to connect with over 70 incredible people who were a direct good fit for our core offer designed to scale. It also allowed me to have conversations with 12 people in my DMs, getting clearer and clearer on what they truly needed to see growth in their online businesses. And most importantly, it did generate over $10,000 in sales for our core signature offer designed to scale. I always say to never underestimate the power of a webinar to completely change things around when you least expect it. Not only that, but it is a great, incredible way to be of service. And if you're feeling like you're in a slump, the one thing that always gets me out of it is being of service. Now, I know that running a webinar can feel like a lot of work, especially on the back end side of your business, tech, funnels, setup, email sequences, all of the things. So I thought I'd share a few things that we do to make running monthly webinars super easy and honestly not take us a lot of time. The first thing that we do is repurpose past webinars that have worked. Now, remember when I told you guys that we've run a webinar every single month for the last 2 years? Well, some of those webinars were extraordinarily successful, and most of those webinars are timeless pieces of content that we could run live over and over and over again and likely produce the same results. So instead of recreating the wheel every time we run a webinar, sometimes we repurpose a past webinar, which allows us to skip setting up the opt-in forms and landing pages and allows us to go right into promotion mode and then just running that experience live. The second thing that we do to make running webinars as easy and smooth as possible is we have templated everything from sign-up pages to thank you pages to emails to sales emails to confirmation emails. All of it is templated, and this allows us to move on a webinar idea really, really, really quickly. And this is also something that we've passed on to our community inside Design to Scale to help them run webinars as quickly as possible. And the third thing that we do is we actually plan ahead of time. We give ourselves a 2 to 3 week runway period for each webinar to allow us to appropriately tease, build up anticipation, and drive students into that experience once the doors open. The important thing to note about webinars, and the mistake that the majority of people make in their webinars, is they teach way too much. The really important thing to note about webinars, and the mistake that a majority of people make when they're running a webinar, is that they teach way too much in their webinar structure and in their webinar content. There's this old saying in the sales industry that says, confused minds don't buy. I really want you to ask yourself, have you ever made a large purchase or even a small purchase when you were extraordinarily confused or overwhelmed? And if you did that purchase work out in your favor? It's probably unlikely. First, that you've made a purchase, and two, that if you did make that purchase, that you didn't regret it later on. Webinars are not teaching moments. They're moments to give your clients clarity. They're moments to say, look, I know where you are and I know where you want to go, and this is the path that you can take to get there if you choose to. That path to choosing to get to where they want to be is your product or your services. But remember that webinars are not valuable because of what you teach. They're valuable because of the clarity that you give your client during that experience. This next strategy that we're implementing is not a new strategy for this industry by any means, but the way in which we're doing it is quite new, and it's having really, really great effects. So the thing that we are continuing to do, but doing in a different manner, is sharing new student breakdowns on our Instagram stories. Celebrating new students joining your offers is a very, very common thing in this industry. People often do it with Post-it notes or by posting names to their Instagram stories or taking screenshots of their new purchases. And these are really, really great ways to build trust with your audience by showing them that other people are doing what it is that you want them to do, which is buy your things. But when you do this and provide context as to who that person is, where they currently are, and where they want to go, it creates so much more safety for people who are very similar to that client to come into your world. For example, 2 weeks ago, we had a new student join us inside our Design to Scale program. And instead of just screenshotting the Kajabi email that says new student, which I've done in the past, I decided to go one step further and break it down for everybody in detail. I shared a slide, and I'm going to put them up right here. Each slide I shared who this client was, what made her a really great fit for the program, and where her business was, where she wanted her business to be in the next 3 to 6 months, and the detailed plan of how we are actually going to get her there over this next period of time that we work with her inside the Design to Scale curriculum. You can see that breakdown here behind me, and you can see why this creates more safety as our students decide whether or not Design to Scale or potentially your products and programs are a great fit for them. It's also really important to note that I understand a lot of you guys deal with sensitive subject matters where students may not want their names displayed, and you can still leverage this strategy by leaving their names out and leaving any personal details out of the plan that you might have put in place for them. The bottom line is you're simply sharing celebrations of your new students joining your offers with context as to who they are and what they desire so that other people in your community can see themselves in their shoes. The sixth and final strategy that we are implementing, or rather doubling down on, is selling on Instagram stories. We have been doing this for years, but we have recently started really doubling down on intentionally using Instagram stories to sell after a period of rest. We talked about that earlier. And the results have actually been tremendous and insane, both from the number of conversations that we're having with our ideal client to the number of sales calls and sales that we're actually generating in our business. To me, if you are not showing up to sell on Instagram stories, you are missing a massive mark in your online business. Instagram last year released a report that showed that over 70% of users watch stories at least once per day when they're using the Instagram app, and that more users are actually spending more time in their Instagram story feed than in their actual Instagram feed in and of itself, which means if you're not there, then you are not getting in front of your ideal client. A lot of people get very overwhelmed when it comes to selling and sharing things on stories. So I decided to make it as easy as humanly possible for you guys to leverage this space to drive sales in a way that you get to show up and feel like you're not selling, and your students get to show up and experience your content while not feeling like they're being sold to, but still drive sales. I took all of my hottest sales and engagement prompts that I've used over the last 2 years to drive organic sales in our online business, and I've put them all in one dashboard for you. You can gain access to it. It looks like this. You can gain access to it by using the link underneath this video. Essentially, once you get access, it's going to give you a beautifully designed Notion business dashboard where you can actually track which prompts you've used, which ones you're working on, and put them on a calendar so you know exactly what you're posting and when you're posting it. When you're using these prompts, it's important that you don't just brain dump absolutely everything on one story slide. You want to leverage multiple slides to really build a story on your Instagram stories every single day. This work, especially using the prompts that I've created, which I still use every single day in my business, means it takes me about 20 minutes to craft an Instagram story that I know with 100% certainty is either going to drive a new sale of one of our low ticket offers or drive a new call booked of our higher end coaching products. That's it. That's a wrap on the 6 strategies that we are currently implementing in our business to continuously drive sales and drive impact with our online courses. I want you guys to let me know in the comments below which strategy you're going to be implementing in your business. And remember that there truly is no one way or no one size fits all approach when it comes to business. Every single business is unique, and every single business has unique challenges and problems. And not all of these strategies are going to work for your unique business. The important thing to do as you're testing out new things is to double down on the ones that work and to detach from the ones that maybe are not serving you anymore. If you desire in-depth strategic support on topics like funnels, analytics, messaging, offer design, and of course the tech side, because your girl is obsessed with it, I encourage you to book a comfort call underneath this video so we can create a custom plan just for you and your business to help you get to your next level without having to sacrifice living your most beautiful and full life. If you like this video, I would absolutely love it if you would hit that like button, hit subscribe, and comment which strategy you're going to be using below so that I can support you in your journey to growing and scaling. Until next week, see you later.